Hi, I'm Lorna from Wearably Weird, and in today's video I'll be showing you 7 cool shoelacing methods on my Converse, including diamond lacing, double lacing, star lacing, bar lacing, sawtooth lacing, lattice lacing, and ladder lacing. All the timestamps for these will be down in the description, so you can skip ahead to the one you like the look of. Let's get into it. Now, diamond lacing Converse might look like a tricky technique, but it's actually really easy. If you make sure to follow along with all the steps in this video, you can't go wrong. So my first tip for you is to take a pair of socks and put them down inside your Converse. And what this will do is create a nice resistance against your Converse sneaker tongue so that the diamond pattern comes out lovely and evenly. Then take your lace and feed it into the bottom 2 eyelets from underneath, not down over the top like this. Just make sure they're coming nice and underneath and the lace is sitting flat and crisp. Then make sure both the laces are the same length. When your laces are the same length, take this lace and pop it out of the way for the moment. Then take this one and bring it over to the 3rd eyelet up, over here on this side. Once you feed it in like that, then you want to take this lace and feed it into the next eyelet up, so the 4th eyelet on this side, underneath, like that. And then you want to bring it back over to this side, down into this guy here. And we're starting to create a lined pattern. Then take this lace, feed it into the next eyelet up on this side, bring it back over here into this eyelet, then the next eyelet up, just the same, back over here. Make sure the lace isn't folding over. Then into this eyelet here, and over and down into this guy here. Then you just want to tuck that lace out of the way for a minute. Make sure all of the lines are nice and even, like this at this stage. There's a little fold in that guy there. You definitely don't want that to happen, so make sure you double check everything before you move on. Now we want to take this guy and bring him underneath this first lace here and down into the 3rd eyelet up on this side, like so. Then we want to take him underneath and up into the 4th eyelet up on this side. Pull it through. And then you want to bring him over this lace, underneath this one, like a weaving pattern, and then over this lace and down into this empty eyelet here. And as you can see, we're starting to get our diamond weave pattern. Then take this lace, open this up, bring him underneath and through the next eyelet up. Pull him all the way through, making sure he looks neat. And then start to weave him through the other laces. So just the same as before, he's going over this lace, underneath this lace, over this lace, down into here. And then you want to bring him up and through this eyelet here on this side. And then back, over, under, over, down into this guy here. Make sure everything's nice and straight and just go slowly and take your time with this. It's much better to go slowly or repeat a step like I'm doing here if you want to make sure that lace is nice and crisp. So we're going over, under, over, into here. There we go, that's way better. And then up through here. I'm really starting to see the diamond pattern forming now. And then we want to take this lace over this lace, under this lace, pulling it through and into this eyelet at the top here. Then you can go ahead and start adjusting your diamond pattern to make sure it's sitting really nice. Then you should be left with 2 diamond lace Converse that look like this. You can take your time adjusting the pattern to make sure they match exactly, but look how cool and fresh they look. Start by sticking a pair of socks or 2 underneath the shoe tongue. This will make your pattern come out lovely and evenly, as it will be a little bit of resistance under there. Then take your 2 shoelaces, the colours of your choice. I'm going to do white and yellow because I think it looks cool with the black. Take the 2 ends together here and tie them in a little knot. Pull it quite tight and make sure it sits right underneath the lace ends. Then take one of the laces, depending on which colour you would like to show on this side. I like the yellow on this side, as you can see. Take it down into this lace hole here and just pull it all the way through until that little knot we created earlier appears, and then you just want to go ahead and tuck that out of sight. Then we're going to pop the white lace out of the way here. Take the yellow lace, bring it across the shoe tongue and down into the bottom eyelet on the left hand side here to create a little bar effect, and this will start our design in a really nice neat way, as you can see here. Then want to grab the white lace as well, and we're going to cross them over with the white lace on top, and we're always going to be putting this white lace on top of the yellow one here throughout the whole design, so remember to do this. Now they're crossed, we're just simply going to loop them, nice and easy, to create our first little double lace there. Then we're going to take the yellow and we're going to feed it down into the second eyelet up from the bottom on the left hand side, and we're going to feed it down into it from above, just like that there. Pop that little guy out of the way. Then we're going to grab the white one and do the exact same with the second eyelet up from the bottom on the right hand side, just like this. Now take your time with this, there's absolutely no rush. Pause the video as much as you like. Make sure you get everything looking good. And we've done our first bit of the pattern. Now we're going to repeat this pattern all the way up the shoe tongue. Just do it with me. Again, put the yellow lace under the white lace, make sure the white one's on top there, and then we're going to cross them over again to create another loop. Take the yellow lace and feed it down into the next eyelet up here from above. Get rid of any little creases because we want it to look real crisp and nice all the way through. And we're going to take the white lace, do the same thing on this side. Now you may be getting the hang of the pattern at this point, just make sure to go slowly and keep pausing. And make sure to watch all the way to the end so you know what to do with the bow. Now we're going to do it again. Yellow lace on the bottom, white lace on the top. Cross them round. Feed into the next eyelet up. Making sure there's no creases. Can be a bit fiddly, but it's worth getting it right so it looks really fresh. Take the white lace and do the same on the other side. And you might want to pause the video here and just continue the pattern all the way up the shoe tongue and then play again, and I'll show you what to do with the bow. Now you should have reached the top eyelets on your pair of shoes or sneakers or boots or whatever you're doing this on, and you're probably wondering, how do we do the bow in a way that looks crisp and finishes it off nicely? So what I like to do is just tie a lace bow as normal. Now some people like the look of the bow left out, but you'll see you have these really long lace ends and you might not be sure what to do with them. If you like the look of the bow out, you can just go ahead and tuck the lace ends down inside the shoe, out of sight. Soft laces don't tend to bother my feet, so I find this works great. And that looks pretty cool, but if you're like me and you like it to look a little bit crisper, like this one here, you can go ahead and just tuck the lace behind the shoe tongue, out of sight, and that should just sit on top of your foot and shouldn't be a problem. If you're worried about how that bow feels, you can use lace anchors, which sit at the flush top with your eyelet there and keep your laces in place. But if not, go ahead and rock the bow and it works just fine. First off, stuff a pair of socks down underneath the sneaker tongue. This will make the star pattern come out way more evenly. Then go ahead and grab your lace and place it into the second eyelet down from the top and pull it out about this much to be left at the top. Then bring the lace over into the second eyelet on the other side like this. Pull it all the way through until it creates a nice bar. Now this is going to be the anchor for where your star hangs off of, which you can see here. Then take the same lace, skip an eyelet and go into this one here from underneath. Pull it all the way through. Then bring it back all the way across and into this eyelet here to create another bar-like effect. Straighten it out and make sure it all looks good. Now this can seem a little bit fiddly, but just go slow, follow the steps and pause the video as you need. Then go ahead and bring the lace all the way down and through the very bottom eyelet here, like this, so it'll sit underneath like that. Now we're going to start to see our star pattern forming. Bring this lace across the sneaker tongue and down into the same eyelet here that this other one is in, and pull it all the way through, and you'll see one of the arms of the star starting to come to life. Then take it down to the bottom eyelet on this side and pull it all the way through. Now we're going to take the lace all the way back over and into this eyelet to join this other one here. And as we start pulling it through, you'll see we're getting another part of the star forming, which looks good. Then take it down underneath everything else. A little bit fiddly, but keep going. And then in through the bottom eyelet again here. Now you just might want to stop here and adjust everything and make sure it's all looking nice and straight. I'm going to tuck that little lace away. And it's starting to look really good. Then we're going to take this lace, weave it underneath this one here. So it's just sat under him. Make sure it's all straight. And then we're going to hook it over this bit, and this is our little anchor, you see. And you'll see the top part of the star starting to form. Then we're going to take it underneath this lace here, pull it, and you see the star there, then down through the bottom eyelet again here. Pull the lace all the way through, and how awesome is that starting to look? Then what we're going to want to do is take this lace and run it underneath all of the laces. It comes all the way to the top like that, and tuck it down under this bit of the canvas so you can't see it. Then bring it up through the top eyelet here. And we're going to create this nice crisp bar that you can see here on this one by doing this. And you might be wondering at this point, how do I tie my laces? I've got two loose lace ends here. What you can do is you can simply loop those into a knot. I personally don't mind this, but some might find this a little bit irritating against the side of their foot. And in that case, you can use a little product called lace anchors, which I'll show you now. Now, lace anchors are super easy to use. They eliminate the need for tying and bowing your laces. All you've got to do is feed your lace into your anchor like this. Again, a little bit fiddly, but just take your time. Then loop it down to another hole. It creates like a little anchor, and then you can just pull it flush with the eyelet there and do this on each lace. And what this will do is really hold your pattern in place in a sturdy way, and nothing will come loose. I've put a link down below for these lace anchors. Now they're super cheap if you want to pick up some, otherwise just knot your laces, no problem. And this is your final result, super cool star lace shoes. So the first tip I have for you, before you start lacing, take a pair of socks and put them down inside your Converse. What this will do is push up the sneaker tongue so you can get nice even bar laces all the way up and not small ones at the top and large ones at the bottom. Then take your lace and feed it down into the 2 bottom eyelets. And make sure you're taking the lace and going down into the bottom eyelets and not up from underneath, as we want all of our bars to be nice and crisp. Then take the laces and pull them up to make sure they're both the right length. Mine definitely aren't, so I'm just going to adjust that now. Making sure they're even is super important. And when they're nice and even, put one to the side out of the way and take this one, and you want to feed it underneath and up through this eyelet here. Like that, so it creates a little step. Then you want to take this lace over, make sure there are no creases in it and it looks nice and crisp. And you want to bring it over into this eyelet here to create our second bar. Then pop this lace out the way, take this little guy here, feed it underneath the second bar we've created there, open this up and into the next eyelet up on this side. And then you want to take it over and into the eyelet on this side. Make sure there's no creases. So at this point, I like to make sure all of my bars are looking nice and even and evenly spread. And then you're next going to take this lace underneath this guy here and up into the eyelet on this side. Bring it over and into this one. Again, making sure there's no creases. And he's looking nice and even with these guys here. Then take this lace underneath him, same as before, up into this eyelet and over. Like that. Then take this guy underneath, into the eyelet, bring the lace over, and leave him there for a moment. Then take this lace underneath, up into the top eyelet on this side, and over into the other top eyelet here, making sure we're looking nice and crisp. At this point, I like to pull the Converse a little bit to make sure all of my bars are nice and even and good looking. Then you want to take this lace and put him underneath the sneaker collar, and this lace, feed it under here, and again underneath the sneaker tongue. Then to finish off the look, pull the 2 laces tight and knot them. And bring that knot down underneath the sneaker tongue and tuck the laces in. This makes it so that you can easily just slip on your sneakers when they're bar lace like this, and the knot is hidden. Then you just want to adjust all the bar laces to make sure they're looking good. Bring in the one you did earlier, sit them next to each other and make sure they're looking nice and even. And there you have it, you've bar laced your Converse. Sawtooth lacing looks awesome in my opinion, and it's relatively quick to do despite looking a little bit complicated. My first tip is to take a pair of socks, put it down underneath the sneaker collar to create a nice little bit of resistance for us to do our pattern on top. And then you want to take your lace and bring it down into each bottom eyelet like this, making sure there are no folds or creases like that, and the lace looks nice and crisp. Then make sure both laces are the same length. Take your time with this. We definitely want to make sure they're the same length. And once your laces are even, we want to take this lace, bring it over and up into the third eyelet on this side. So make sure you're counting 3 up. Make sure it looks nice and straight and crisp. Then take this lace, bring it underneath and up into the second eyelet on this side, like so. Then you want to bring it over and down into this eyelet here. And as you can see, we've created our first sawtooth pattern there. Then you want to bring this lace over and into the eyelet on this side here to create another bar. And then this one, we want to make sure it's going underneath and into this eyelet here, like that. Then take this one, create the next sawtooth pattern with it. Make sure it's nice and flat. Bring this one over and into here to create another bar. Making sure there's a nice even spread between all of the laces and it's looking nice and crisp. Bring this one over and up into here. Making sure it's flat as always. Then bring this one back over to create the bar over it. And we want to bring it up and into the top eyelet here. Making sure it's looking all even and good. Then bring this one over here, and there's a little extra step at the end here. We want to take this one up and underneath into the top eyelet here, so it's hidden there, so that the effect is kept. Then take a minute to just adjust everything and make sure it's looking good. And then you can lace your 2 laces here, but I like to just tuck them behind here so you can get the full effect of the lacing look for the moment until they're ready to wear. Then bring in the one you did earlier, and as you can see, you have 2 saw laced canvas. Lattice lacing is a great way to elevate your combos game. It looks impressive, but it's actually super simple. So the first thing I always suggest to do is to take a pair of socks, put it down underneath the sneaker tongue to create a little bit of resistance there so your pattern turns out nice and neat, not big at the bottom and small at the top. Then you want to take your lace. Then pop this lace out of the way, take this lace, and we're going to bring it over into the 4th eyelet up on this side, so this one. So make sure you count your 4. Take it over and down into the eyelet. Like this, making sure it turns out nice and crisp looking. Then you want to take the same lace and feed it into the next eyelet up on this side. Like so. And then bring it back over again and into the 2nd eyelet on this side. Make sure it doesn't fold over and it looks nice and straight. Then take the same guy up into the next eyelet on this side. Bring it back over. And this time we're going to go up from underneath into the eyelet here. Make sure it's nice and neat. And then we're going to pop this lace out of the way for the moment. Now we're going to take this lace and take it underneath this 2nd one here to create our first weave that's going over, under, over. Then we're going to take it into the 4th eyelet on this side. Making sure it looks really nice. Now with the same lace, we're going to take it into the next eyelet up on this side. And then we're going to weave it, this time underneath this one, over this guy, and then underneath this one. Pull it all the way through and you can really see that our lattice pattern is starting. Then we want to take it down into this eyelet here. Make sure it looks nice and flat. And then bring him up into this empty eyelet on this side, so it should be the third one up. And then we want to take it. This time we're going to go over, under this one, and then over this one that's come a little bit loose. Let me pull him tight. Over him, and then up underneath into this eyelet here. And as you can see, we've created our really cool lattice pattern. So it should be that cool diamond shape there. And at this point you can knot your Converse and see how they look. I like to leave quite big laces when I do this style because I think it looks awesome. Then I'm going to bring in the one I did earlier. As you can see, this one needs tightening up a little bit. But there you have it, 2 lattice laced Converse that look really awesome. Ladder lacing, or military lacing as it's also known, is a great lacing technique as it stops your Converse coming loose and looks really cool, especially on the sides. So my first tip for you is to take a pair of socks and push them down underneath the sneaker tongue. So it creates a nice even tongue, so when you lace your ladder laces on, they'll turn out nice and even. Then you want to take your laces and begin the first lacing step by pushing them through the 2 bottom eyelets from underneath, as I'm doing here. Make sure there's no creases and pull them up to make sure that they're nice and even as well. Then pop this lace out the way and take this guy here. Feed it up through the second eyelet on this side. To create our first little ladder step, take it over, push it through the second eyelet on this side and pull it nice and straight looking. Then take this lace and bring it up through the second eyelet on this side, as I'm doing here, over the top of the lace we've just put through. Pull it through and make sure that ladder is nice and crisp. And then you want to feed this lace through the second eyelet on this side. And as you can see, we have our first ladder. You can neaten that up a little bit. Then repeat this by going up through the next eyelet up with this lace. Making sure it's nice and crisp. Bring it over and into the next eyelet up on this side. Same again with this lace, through the same eyelet over the top of the first lace. And through and into the eyelet on this side. And then you want to repeat those steps all the way up the sneaker. Then once you get to the top and you're just doing your final step like I am here, just pull it through as you've been doing all the way along, making sure it's really neat. With the top here, what tends to happen is the ladder will get a little bit smaller as there's less resistance under the sneaker tongue, so just make sure that doesn't happen and you're pulling it and making sure it looks even with the others. And there you have it. All of your ladder laces are complete. They should look really cool on the sides and from the front. And what you want to do at this stage is just make sure they all sit really nicely on top of each other like this. And then you can go ahead and knot your laces as usual. For this, I'm just going to tuck them behind here so you can see the full effect. Bring in the one I did earlier. And there you are, you should have some really cool looking ladder laced Converse.